Hey everybody, this is the High Fin Spotted Pleco, which I believe is actually a Sailfin Pleco, but it's sold under the name High Fin Spotted Pleco at Petsmart. I always thought it was one of their own sort of fish, a proprietary type species, or a hybrid that they created for their own store purposes. But I don't think it is. I think it's just a regular old Sailfin Pleco that they just call a High Fin Spotted Pleco. If you start delving into the Pleco identification and start looking at the different L numbers and all that, it gets pretty confusing pretty quickly. And there's a lot of misidentification and a lot of fish that make multiple lists, are identified as multiple different fish or the same one. So I'm never 100% sure what this one is. I always just kind of assume that it is a Sailfin Pleco, and of course for me it's all just academic. I'm not going to breed it or sell it or anything like that, or at least not under any kind of conditions where it would be considered to be a specific fish. If I do sell it, it would be, understood that it's I purchased it at PetSmart as a High Fin Spotted Pleco, so there you go, that's what it is. So for me, I don't really care. I'll call it a High Fin Spotted Pleco, I'll call it a Sailfin Pleco, whatever. It's just a fish that's in my tank. And it was sitting out, and it was looking cool for a minute there, so I thought I would get just a couple of minutes of video of it. I was unable to really get in here this afternoon and get anything done. I was going to come down here and do a water change on Butterbean's tank this evening, and then do an around the world update. I'm long overdue for one of those. But unfortunately I fell asleep earlier, and it was one of those late afternoon naps, and they just basically wreck the rest of your day. And basically the rest of my day got wrecked, and now it's 9 o'clock at night and I've not even come in here and fed the fish yet, which is what I was coming in here to do. But I saw this guy sitting out, so I thought I'd get a little bit of video of it and more or less explain why tonight's video is just going to be this. So hopefully tomorrow's video will be my around the world update. Not making any promises on that, but that's my intention. I do need to get the water change done on Butterbean's tank. I've done some water changes on a few other tanks already. Speaking of which, there's my T-bar. Color still hasn't come back, but all of the white spots and the little holes from the hole in the head disease seem to have cleared up. I don't really see anything left on that. And all in all, this tank's doing okay. I still need to keep up on top of doing the water changes a little more frequently because of this High Fin Spotted Pleco here. It's so big, it's just a pooping machine. But it's a really cool fish. It's a really pretty fish too. I really like it a lot. So I've got plans for it, believe it or not. It is outgrowing this tank kind of rapidly. This is only a 55-gallon tank. And while it's not too big at the moment, it's certainly going to be too big. And it also depends on how you define too big. As far as the fish itself is concerned, plecos aren't, fish that need a lot of swimming around room like a rainbow fish is. They can just kind of lay around, and as long as they've got the water being cleaned, then they don't need a lot of physical space. So he's not outgrowing the tank in that sense that he's getting too big for it physically, although we're getting kind of close to that point. But what we're experiencing is just this fish is getting so large, and it eats so much food and it produces so much waste. In other words, it's a lot of bioload for a 55-gallon tank. So we can have a discussion later about the old inch of fish per gallon of water rule. That's a very, very, very rough guideline to go by if you're very new to the hobby and you're not really sure of stocking density and stuff like that. It's a number you can use to go by, but there's so many variables involved in that inch of fish per gallon of water rule that we're not going to say that applies here. So this fish, while it might only be, I don't know, I'm going to not really count most of the tail there, we'll call it 6 inches. But you can see it's a pretty hefty 6 inches. That's a lot of fish sitting right there, and it just creates a ton of waste. And I used to put 1 algae wafer a day in this tank. Now I put 5 algae wafers a day in this tank, and I never see any algae wafers go uneaten. So I could probably do less, but then I'd be worried about certain fish wouldn't be getting enough food. and so on and so forth. So I knew when I put this fish in here, it was going to be a limited deal. I was only going to be able to keep it in here for so long before it would outgrow the tank, and that's okay with me. I've got options when it comes to that. I don't, I'm not committed when I buy a fish. I don't have to keep that fish its entire lifetime. I do have, I have at least one pet store that I can pretty much take any fish at any time, and as long as it's not a busy weekend day, they'll go ahead and swap it out for me, give me store credit. I would imagine in this case I could probably simply exchange this if I wanted to get something similar, just smaller. Then I don't think they'd have any problem just more or less swapping fish for me. So I've got options, like I said, and I knew when I bought it that it was going to be a limited time, and it looks like that time is now winding down and coming to an end. As is this video. He went and hid. I'm well over 5 minutes now. Ooh, I'm at 6 minutes now, and this was supposed to be just a brief little update, letting you know why I wasn't going to shoot any more specific video tonight. So there you go. Make sure you're subscribed. Hopefully I'll be able to get to my around the world update tomorrow. Don't forget, of course, this one here is my T-bar cichlid tank. So thanks again for watching, and I'll see you real soon in the next one.